Good morning. It is 7:59 a.m. on Wednesday, September 25th, 2019. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up and kind of started packing up a little bit. This is 5 more minutes. So this is the day we are leaving Bar Harbor, heading back to Boston, and we had a pretty good trip here, I think. So as I mentioned when I finally posted the video yesterday, if you were looking for it only in the morning, you'll find that I posted it later in the afternoon. We did hike around and we saw some things. We saw Thunderhole, although it was at low tide, so not at its most spectacular, but that's fine. And then we went to Jordan Pond and didn't kayak but had a lovely picnic. Then we hiked up to the summit of South Bubble, which is a moderate, short-ish hike, but was a good workout compared to just walking around for sure, and it was definitely worth it for the view up there and everything. So I have lots of pictures that I'm going to sort through and start figuring out which ones are worth sharing with everybody. After that, we decided we wanted to kind of see some of the bus that could pick us up where we were could also take us to a couple of places that weren't on the Park Loop Road that we had driven before. So we decided we wanted to go see the Southeast Harbor, and we did. And Southeast Harbor, I'm suddenly questioning whether that's the right Northeast Harbor, because it's referring to presumably north of the water. But anyway, yeah, so it was Northeast Harbor, despite it being on the southern end of the island. But we went and hung around there just long enough to get very rained on and extremely, pretty much, soaked to the bone. But it was actually, I don't know, I mean, not that I enjoyed being soaked to the bone and having clothes that are still dry, and my shoes still not wet, or excuse me, still not dry, even now, just because this place is very humid. But I don't know, I like rainstorms, and so kind of being out in it, even though it was kind of cold and getting wet and everything, wasn't the most fun part, but I thought it was still pretty cool. And so we managed to catch the last bus, which was convenient because we realized that it was the last bus only after catching it. Apparently, because we were into the fall schedule, I was misreading that. It's like, oh, I thought after this one it just wasn't every half an hour, but no, apparently it was the last one altogether. But we were on it, so no problem. So we rode that bus back all the way around and dropped off at the hotel, and then, not feeling much like going back out, we ordered pizza, and my mom and I played For the Queen, which is a game that I've talked about on here before. It's a card-based game where you take turns answering question prompts to sort of collectively fill out a world building and a narrative about a queen going on a long and perilous journey. And for those of you who are familiar with the game, in this particular session, both my mom and I did defend the queen. But yeah, so today we're getting packed up, and we're going to get some breakfast before we get on the road. But we're leaving a little earlier than we might have otherwise, because we want to leave some extra time in case the car stops working. Because I think I mentioned this a little bit yesterday, but there's apparently a pulley on the air conditioning compressor that runs a belt that also runs the alternator and the power steering, and that belt or that pulley apparently could go at any time. So do we make it back home? Maybe. But we decided that, like, even if it goes while we're driving, all that means is that we would lose power steering in the alternator, which, while not great, would at least probably allow us to get to somewhere safe and not just be literally on the side of the highway. But who knows? Maybe it'll make it all the way back to Boston, and we will have no problems, and then I could just take it to my regular shop, and that's no big deal. But because my mom has a flight, we would, we were kind of in a spot where none of the shops locally here could do it before we had to leave, so got to roll the dice. So help me pray for a natural 20, and I'll update you all tomorrow, probably back from Boston. So in the meantime, talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes.